नाम लिखते हैं
रिकॉर्ड होता है ना अंदर एफपी में सामने में क्या सी ना
नहीं चैनल क्या होता है
वो चैनल लास्ट तक
recorded lectures अच्छा जिया आ रही है
जिया मसूरी के लिए
दिलाना है
ये यहाँ तो लागी सी है सॉरी बोल मे बी आई नंबर में साथ में आती थी
मैं गाने छोटे आने वाला था बट यू कॉल
actually you are saying this is better okay
oh my god what
क्या सुन को ज्यादा बाहर से पास सेपरेट करना पड़ेगा लास्ट टाइम मेरा
मतलब फोन वापस नहीं आता है but we should not use it in front of her she will take it you find
तूने तो एडमिशन
मैंने 3-4 दिन पहले
मैं कौन सा बुक्स पे
और
because I was Christian civics पे Christian civics पे
I don't know because I can't remember भी हो है
नहीं आया Christian civics से मेरे को तो अभी तक इंग्लिश हिंदी एंड इकोनॉमी देखना
मैंने भी मम्मी को कहा I don't need all of मैं कोई सब्जेक्ट और बाहर से करूँगा मम्मी छांसी लो नया एरिया छांसी लो
इतना बराबर है नहीं आगे भी डांस करते तो
when a parent does all subjects there can be only 2 reasons either the kid is really dumb in studies or the parent does not want to take a chance because it's both now phone switch off
what the be answers
पहले से तो स्कूल में ही होना है Economics the service is socha कि we should लेकिन स्कूल की always find it advertising or marketing is difficult
and you were simply please
notes gather is gather देखना
क्या नोट्स देते हैं वहाँ वॉल्यूम
दे पढ़ना you teach notes history दीपा माता बोला है
then you soon
yes
all right how are you all right so just to update you we have finished the first chapter
okay
all right so that is economics right so if you just tell them so it doesn't mean if you are finished so you won't be getting the class something like that that's not what I mean what I meant was that this is something which is being done so what I'll do is I'll give you the synopsis of it and once you have the synopsis then it becomes easier for you to do second chapter along with us and of course we'll revisit the first chapter when and how we'll figure it out okay other things so that's the plan so if she shows it to you which school are you
that was one
okay hello friends okay did she tell you yeah so this is your first chapter right so what we did was since it is ICSE and you know it's in ICSE 9 and in both so whatever is not given in the scope is definitely not done okay so that is only for reading So what we did was we just discussed a bit, glanced through just because it's interrelated and all these things. And so we are not touching those topics at all because we know it won't come. That's for sure. Okay, so we are only focusing on the topics which are coming and which are very well.
It's just time for DVJ.
All right, both of them, right?
नहीं,
And
new addition जो मैंने बात की थी ना आपको.
Oh, there's a boy.
हाँ.
All right, so yeah, so that is what we are discussing in detail. Second thing, since you know it for economics, social science, all these basic subjects, they require a lot of keywords, right? And it would be very easier for you to explain because the explanation is the most easiest thing to be done. But if you really need to score 100, so you have to have keywords in place. Okay, so what we do is in class, we can't finish everything in class. Some things goes as homework. Okay, so you need to fill up the keywords over there, like there will be space in your notebook. Okay, so you're writing the topics and bit of things. And you can fill up at home, bring it. So this way, what happens is that you are ready for boards. So the moment you have your notes ready for chapter 1, so automatically you just have to revise your notes and everything, and you can gain marks. Yes, this is the plan. And the third thing is that we also plan the 2 more girls will be coming today, right? They're not coming today. So, so for those two, and also what we'll do is that we'll divide the questions. Okay, so each one of us will divide the question and we will have 5 questions ready for the boards and you can exchange. Okay. So you don't have to do everything, but you will be working as a team. Just that is the plan. Are you clear with this? So this is something. I don't think so we have done this. Capital. No.
so from the chapter we have to pick the questions.
No, the board questions. The board questions which are already there. Okay, for your volume, I don't think so you got your volume, right? Okay, it's printing. So you get the volume. So that that will give you the the idea that you want. So basically what we are doing is we are within these classes only we prepare for boards. So that it's not something that we are doing it again and again. Revisiting is like the revision, not for like this. So that's the plan. We, since it's first class I'm telling you, so we are doing it through presentation. Okay, so that is a presentation. So the presentation again comprises of keywords. So it will require a lot of jotting down. I won't say writing, it's jotting down. You're just jotting down the keywords and putting it in your notebook. That's how things work. Okay. So we have done, if you open your textbook once, so just to give you an idea. We have done for first page, we have done utility, creation, utility, practice. Do you have any idea what are these practices?
Utility, yes.
Nine you done. And this.
School there on this job.
Yeah, they're doing this. So factors of production and all?
Factors.
Characteristics and everything. Alright, and then you have, so if you look at the 9th page, this is all about labor, semi-skilled, skilled, unskilled labor, mental labor and all these things. Okay, and then you have factors affecting efficiency of labor. So this is all what we have discussed. I don't think so we have done labor we have done, differences, this we have done, capital income now, this is read only, no?
So
Closing capital.
cancellation sheet
Role of government and all these things have been done. I don't think so we have done anything. We've done anything about entrepreneurs. So you 3 were there, no, last time? Or 4?
One girl was Gia,
and one more? No, you 3 or
only 3
First class, the other 2 were there, and she came. Alright, so were you able to manage this chapter? Because for you also, you did not do with us completely. Yeah?
Still some parts
Still some parts. Even she, so we'll be having any issues about some. so we have done entrepreneurship. Can you check once? All those things we have done. Causes of low rate of capital formation, suggestions to rate. Yeah. Have we?
Page.
Suggestion.
I didn't know the calculation. That's why. All the
Page.
calculations are
Page.
Page number 20.
Page number 19. I was given the calculation.
19 stands. No, I'm asking the page number 20. Have we discussed in the class?
No.
No, that is very much part of the syllabus, right?
The suggestions to raise rate capital rate.
Read only.
Yeah. This part.
So that's what I was thinking that we'll start with entrepreneurship. This is something. Because this whole thing is there now. In entrepreneurship, that is page number 21 and 22. 21, 22, 23 is everything is there. Right?
6.3 is not there. 6.3, 6.6. That's it.
Yeah. What is 6.3 and
6.6.
okay. That's it. Okay, so what do you guys think? What is entrepreneurship?
Person
Person who owns the business, manages the business, who begins the business, right? And so, how does an entrepreneurship plays a role in economics?
It's a private sector.
Okay, fine. Second,
in the secondary.
yes, it's a secondary sector. Why is it a secondary sector?
Because it handles the whole business.
It's a production.
Handles the whole business,
Business.
whole. Because it's not only about production. What is it about entrepreneurship?
It's about selling.
Sales and profits.
Sales and profits and everything. So that is the same thing which you have. You may not follow up with the class for this chapter. Okay, because it's something which they have already done. So we anyway beginning in second chapter. Okay, so just see whatever you can manage. Okay. So when you see the meaning of an entrepreneur, just find out the keywords because this we have already discussed. Which is the book part I'm doing. Okay, I've already discussed with them. Which means you can just underline, which means to undertake, and is the one who organizes, manages, and assumes the risk. So in an exam, you need to mention about the FH and the whitehead. Okay, both the things. So when you write about both of them, that's how you gain marks. Okay, and then when you talk about the characteristics, what are the advantages of being an entrepreneur? Think about it. What's the advantage?
Private sector, so government is not going to interfere.
One, privately owned. Hire. You don't need to hire anyone.
No.
Second,
And how
okay. Two, it's a
Liability.
liability. How is it liability?
The person owning the business will be liable or have a liability of the business.
Oh, that is liability. Not liability.
Not that, the business.
Okay, so you can underline is not higher, residual in nature. If the question comes, what is residual in nature? What will you say?
Residual in nature.
Yeah. Residuary बोलते हैं ना इकोनॉमिक्स में बचा हुआ yeah that's all we left out right so we say na ki like for example this center is doing a business after collecting all the payments and all these things the first they have to pay the rent okay then they have to look after the workers they have to look after electricity okay so whatever other things are being required exactly after paying everything whatever is residue
Yeah.
that's the profit so it's not something कि किसी ने कोई फीस ली अरे इतना कमाता है they have a lot of expense okay which they have to bear and after paying everyone because everybody is sourced right from outside so they will be expecting their money on time right so this is how a residue works this is how an entrepreneurship even though entrepreneurship was by then there are a lot of yes disadvantages yes this is what you have to understand and the third is the rewards of all of the factors are contractual, hence are always positive. Even negative. In what sense? What is even negative?
Even negative.
आप losses में भी तो जा सकते हो.
Even negative.
Yes.
If the business doesn't work out.
If the business doesn't work out, but the business has to pay everyone because you're outsourcing. Exactly. They will make money. Then this fourth one is risk and uncertainty. Do you agree that they have a lot of risk and uncertainty
Yes.
attached? And then that earn, entrepreneur is the only factor that earns profit. और कोई बंदा profit नहीं gain करता है. Entrepreneur ही है जो एक human factors of production. Yeah. So this is what we had done. We are just seeing from the book. Okay. And then again, difference between entrepreneur and organization. What do you think? What's the difference?
Organization is a group of people formed. Organization where entrepreneur is handled by a single person.
Exactly. Yes. And in case of large scale production, who shares the risk?
In large scale production.
Only entrepreneur?
Both organization.
Both. Exactly. Okay, so you can see over here, risk is borne by the shareholders and enterprise is concerned with the shareholders. मतलब managers, directors, CEOs, वो सब involved हो जाते हैं. ठीक है? कोविड में यही हुआ था. कोविड में even though the employees which are being hired from outside were being paid on time, but the officials थे, higher officials. I'm talking about the company, not UK. Okay, so they have to also give up their stake. Say 50% payment less salary, 60% payment less salary because of this, because you also hold the stake. Like just like movie में producer होता है, producer के साथ director भी होता है.
The movie doesn't go with the producer.
सब और actors सब में से भी जाते.
Actors also
Depends. Sometimes the actors are very clear that I want this is my payment. Sometimes actors are smart enough to get it to me 50% payment, 50% I'm putting it on stake. Putting on stake means अगर picture movie hit हो गई, I'll also get the profit. The payment becomes more, na? And if it losses, so yes, you have to bear the loss.
50% every.
So there are adjustments which are being done. So this is what you have to do with entrepreneurship. So then other than that, you can see next page. This is also we had discussed entrepreneur, other factors of production. What are other factors of production? Land, labor, capital. So land, labor, capital are scattered at different places. Do you agree? Yes. Whereas entrepreneurship earns profit, which is residual in nature. Always remember residual bacha bacha. Who bears risk involved? Can you see the next line? Who bears risk involved? And independent factor of production. So these are known as keywords. Okay, then even if you know the four words of it, you can always frame it in your own words. Yeah? And then you can see functions, risk bearing, decision making, coordination, distributed functions, and all these things. Again, in your exam, you don't need to learn everything. You just need to learn the headings. Headings you get half mark. Okay, half mark you need for explanation. Explanation के लिए इतना कुछ करने की जरूरत नहीं. Just read it. Write it in your own words, just take all the keywords. You get marks, clear cut. You get 4 marks होता है. For math 5 marks, not more than that's enough functions. So if you see the functions, can you tell me that how to identify a keyword? First point, देखो risk bearing what is keyword? Uncertainty. ठीक है, अब बता दो कि you can always frame your answers, right? Now second one, which is a keyword?
Several decisions regarding businesses.
No. What else? A, B, C, D. देखो, what's A, B, C, D?
Commodity will be produced. Design and quality.
So even if you remember one or two things, it works. But second वाले point में एक problem है. Second and third point में sometimes second and third point separately आ जाते हैं.
So we have to write.
So only the second and third. Boards के अगर paper देखोगे, that's how you will get to know.
Can a question come as if the functions of entrepreneur on the basis of decision making?
That's what second and third master. Point 2 and point 3, they're most important. It has come in the boards. So you can also play smart. You say 2 and 3 को learn कर लो.
I think if they ask what are the functions of an entrepreneur,
All three. No, just 4. If it's 5 markers, you're preparing maximum for 5 markers. Maximum. 5 headings, you get 2.5. This is how the marking is done in boards. I don't know what your school will do in pre-boards. School to school varies, but boards will not. That's clear cut. Thinking of keys होती है ना आंसर. So 2.5 तो ऐसे मिलता है, 2.5 explanation के basis पे. So that is an explanation. Just need to write 2 or 3 lines. If you write more, you will not finish your paper. It's as simple as that. So that's why we tell students कि इसको read कर लो. ठीक है, you know the meaning. ठीक है, and just 2 keywords आ देना और उसको underline कर दो. The moment you underline, the examiner thinks कि अच्छा, they are not, ghosting anybody. So they're doing very That's how you have to play. You have to play smart in case of the marks. So this is the thing. And similarly, you can see the last one, importance and role of entrepreneurship, increase in output. This is not there, no? Yeah, mobilization, innovative function. What keyword will you write?
Practical application. Profitability.
Yes.
Progressive.
Practical applications as well. Clear? And similarly, you need to mention if there is at all any name of an individual, you have to mention. Okay, these are the tricks to get 100. If you're targeting 80s, then it's a different story. Okay, but if you are targeting fulls, then you have to mention the names. This bande ne kya bola? That's how the things vary. Okay, so and then delegation function. What is delegation? What does the delegation helps us with?
Right, the idea of help tasks to the right person. Who's the right?
Yeah, skill and time of people.
Yes.
Task. Yes. And then you have importance and role of entrepreneurship in economic development, increase in output, mobilization of saving, generation of employment, and balanced regional development. Again, you can just see the keywords of this. We have discussed this already. Diana, Sony. You're Diana.
No, that's not my account. That's mine.
No. I received the message. But late. Right. Done. Have you identified your keywords? I have. I've got my pen. That is the second chapter, no? Theory of demand. This is the download part, yes. It's not showing up, na? Download part. Alright, I have to do it like this. Okay, so now let me begin with the.
If you do that, something's open.
I don't see if it is open. preview file or something was coming. Okay, so this is our chapter, which you was all three of you will be doing now properly. Demand and supply. So when we talk about in economics, demand and supply, what is demand? How is the demand, affects the price?
When demand
When
goes
the
up,
demand
the
is
price
high,
also
there
when
is-
goes up.
Okay, why?
Sorry?
When demand increases, the price increases.
Because a lot of people are going to purchase that.
So for the
products.
consumers,
So for the
Say
profit.
I want to hear.
when the demand is high, the price will get low. At some places, it's like that.
Some places,
If you want,
which
it
places?
depends on the
If
product.
person producing the product wants to help the people,
What about the moral grounds?
then if it's purely
Moral grounds, every time economics don't work. So you will have 0.1% of people working on moral grounds. I am talking in terms of economics. The demand and supply कैसे vary करता है?
demand goes up,
Demand goes up, then price will increase. If they don't have, as he said, if they don't have the moral grounds, they will increase the price. What is happening? I won't name. Not good. Okay, there is one flight, company which is very well known. Okay, so right now, since the attack had happened in JNK, a lot of people have been stranded over there. Right, you are aware of it. A lot of people have been stranded. Flight prices have gone really bad. I mean, it's 40K, 45K for one return. So if you are insensitive, you'll shoot up. If you are sensitive, you would have brought it down. If the actual price, let's say, was 12,000, 13,000, that's the usual prices, which you get it, or maybe 14,000. Then depending, because it's seasonal. You would have brought it down to 5, you would have even have given it for 3. But they thought that this is the right way to earn money.
That's bad.
You do need a moral ground, but then again, the company says if we have the moral ground, so how will we earn? However, this is the worst moral ground, worst thing which you can ever do. Because somebody is stranded and you do it. In other cases, it's fine. It's business. But this is happening. So this is what a demand and supply case is and how it works out. Yeah. So what we are doing in your chapter is we are doing about the elements and how the demand and supply. Of course, the price thing is one of the things, but otherwise also we have to look after the elasticity. What is elasticity? Any idea? Expansion. Do you know about the demand curves and supply curves? Any idea?
Demand curves.
Curve. Supply curve.
It's on the ground.
It's on the graph. Okay, that's what you know. Okay, production. What do we know about production? How is production related to supply?
Related to supply production.
If
If
there is more
less
demand,
production, supply will.
वो तो automatically less हो जाएगी. But if there is more demand, तब क्या होगा?
then it will be like if there is more demand, there
The
will be more
production will
production
also
and
be
it will be more.
Yes. So technically, if I'm having more and more demand, forget about the price, I'm also having more of production. So when I'm having more of production, I'm hiring more people.
Yes.
You're increasing the employment opportunities also. So these are the things, that is what we are starting in this chapter, is how things are related. So you can close your book for some time and then you can go back. Okay, let's do the basics. What is a demand? Demand is the desire to own anything,
The ability to pay for it.
the ability to pay for it. I don't know if you can see. Are you able to see? The ability to pay for it and the willingness to pay during a specific period of time. If the question which comes to 2 marks, what is demand? The children write literally demand is the desire for anything. They give you half mark. Okay, so again they will look at your keywords. Is the desire is your one keyword. Second is the ability. How is ability? Third is willingness. Specific period. So half. That's how we get marks. Got it? So you can just open your notebook and you just have to jot down the keywords. You don't have to jot down the sentences. No dear. Just write on the heading demand. Because this will take a long time. No, dear, just write the heading demand and just write the four keywords. Desire, my God, desire, ability, willingness, specific period. Just four words. You can always frame. You don't need that much help. And you have your textbook ready. So it's okay. Clear? Easy? Okay. Just let me know whenever you face any difficulty there and then. Okay, no difficulty hoga. Okay. This is what I was talking about, demand schedule and demand curve. So when I talk about the demand schedule in economics, what is demand schedule? What is schedule?
Basically a demand which gets high during a particular period of time.
Exactly. Scheduling हमारी एक quantity होता है, like for example अगर wheat का अगर wheat का production है तो मेरा जो demand का मुझे पता है इस time पे wheat की production की demand रहती है, right? Because the season is
more production will be
exactly more production will be there and all these things. And the same thing you can see. Can you read this out, please? A list.
A list showing the quantity of a good that consumer would choose to purchase at different prices with all other variable held constant.
When I say all other variables held constant, matlab
with all the characteristics or something.
Including everything.
including everything.
Price.
What are variables? Yes, price, quantity. Yes. That consumer choose to purchase at different prices. Differences nahi hai. Difference in prices or different prices. At different prices with all other variables held constant. Let's take an example. COVID में मास्क मैंडेटरी हो गए, ठीक है? किसी एरिया में मास्क बहुत एक्सपेंसिव है. Amazon पे, let's talk about Amazon. Amazon में different prices है. Amazon इसमें मास्क के, people were still buying. You were saying N95 ये वो अलग-अलग तरह के मास्क है. People were buying it. People were ready to shell out money. क्यों?
For their own safety.
For their own safety. क्या वो ये चीज़ तो उस टाइम पे क्या हो रहा था? Demand schedule.
Demand was more so.
Exactly.
People were not looking at the prices.
The other variables got constant. How is the other variable got constant? Constant मतलब constant नहीं है.
There
Fixed
was a
नहीं.
need for
There was need.
the
मतलब मैंने ना सोचे समझे भी मैंने order किया. I'm not looking for budgeting. That is known as a demand sheet. Clear that when you don't look after other things. That's with the demand curve. What is demand curve? Graphically, you can use that. Just scroll up. Graphically shows the relationships between the price of a good and the quantity. So demand curve किस चीज की relationship छोड़ेगा बताएगा? Quantity. Price and quantity. और कुछ की नहीं बता. Only price and quantity. Other are variables. Yeah. So, for example, a price. अब मेरा जो demand है, let's say, ठीक है, मेरी demand है to have 100 pieces of onion. ठीक है, 100 pieces of onion. I need a hotel industry में, sorry, the shop needs it. अब 100 pieces of onion में, what are the things you are looking at? What would they be?
quality,
Price and the quality. Right? So what is this thing over here? Price and of course the quantity. Demand आपकी quantity देखती है ना और उसमें automatically आपको price है. This much is easy. Yes. Demand schedule समझ में आ गया? Yes. Right? This is a very important. This is the basic. So you can choose the keywords. You take a call. This is something important, so I'm not saying. Done?
Yes.
So what is demand schedule? What does the list show?
The quantity.
Quantity of a good that consumers would choose to purchase
At
That will
different
be
at
prices.
different prices. Okay? Okay, and what is demand curve?
Which is the relationship between the
Price of a good
quantity.
quantity. All other इतना जरूरत नहीं होती quality और इनसे कई बार क्या होता है कि even quality नहीं होती है ना then also like for example in India में आप Chinese जितनी items देखते हो and if you ever once you start traveling so you will see the same Chinese item in Dubai and in US are very different very different so जो भी उनका बचा कुचा माल होता है they send it to India residue okay and the reason being क्योंकि क्या होता है जब हम production करते हैं इतना ज़्यादा तो नहीं चाहिए दोनों चाहिए इंडिया में कुछ बेचते हैं import export सब होता है and the reason being population इतनी है इंडिया में कि बिक ही जाता है चाहे बेकार से बेकार सामान भी होगा then people will buy it why because I mean it's this is how India and the system works yes because country में इतनी population है तो ऐसे ही होगा even अगर तुम और country बांग्लादेश वगैरह में जाओगे तो वहाँ भी ये होगा so the similar problem but US and all में and even in Dubai में the quality even तुम यहाँ पे ये देखोगे तो if the things which you get it for babies toddlers के लिए so in Dubai and all what happens is that they will not buy the country itself will not buy anything which is hazardous for them whereas in India they don't check anything like for a simple example if you are buying a teddy okay so for a toddler you can't give teddy with a different eye on it you understand a plastic eye is different yeah even a plastic eye because the toddlers have the habit of tearing it and putting it in the mouth and this can choke them so you will get everything in India same Chinese thing but you will not get it in Dubai and US because they will not pass they said bachcha to bachcha hai right you can't and even the parent can't be there with the child for 24 hours you know license which this is what I meant in terms of the quality check in terms of the safety they are not bothered about it Indians so this is what so this is the example of demand curve so what is this and what is this price it's just a measurement weight nothing that's an example okay and so when I say 4,000 let's say this is the demand so what is happening over here
Prices.
what is this is it okay 6,000 10,000 so when demand increases then
Price
decreases.
but
No,
demand
wait,
And
wait, wait,
increases.
no. Demand.
Increase भी होगा decrease भी होगा
कैसे how I just want to understand your logic
if it's in demand they will hike the prices
okay
and maybe some of them will decrease the price
what else think about it what is this example of demand curves I can show you another example
say 4,000 is affordable than those two so that's it
अब ये प्राइस इंक्रीज हो रहा है कि डिक्रीज हो रहा है ये बताओ पहले
4,000
Is it at 4,000?
from
Maybe it's
4,000
a
and
new,
approximately increase
it's a new product and it's at a
you
So
can
ये
see that
डिमांड बढ़ रही है क्या हो रहा है व्हाट इज दिस
when the price is decreasing the quantity is increasing see 10,000 and people are buying more when the price is less
if the company is seeing that their product is receiving less demand, then they try to sell all leftovers for high prices.
for low price
क्यों तुम सेल लगा दो तो हाई प्राइस में बेचते हैं
they were selling low price
Exactly.
it's not selling
yes so what is it
and
your logic is correct what you people are saying your logic is correct I want to understand the demand curve think about it what is demand curve what did we do demand curve पढ़ो जरा एक बार दोबारा what is demand curve
maybe they are selling something at
Quantity.
10,000 but It's like
Is that?
it's a high
That's
price.
not quantity.
Which one?
The
Demand to price है यार इसमें.
ये वाला that
Demand.
if the price is higher, demand ज़्यादा है, and if the price is low, the demand is
This is
low.
what she was saying. Yeah. The price is higher, so अगर हम price higher को देखते हैं, that is, where is price higher? Where is this curve? This one?
Yeah.
तो ये चीज,
The price is low, so the demand is more. Price is more than demand.
open your book, find and identify it. Otherwise, you're already learning things. Yes. Good. Look at this. The first one. Yeah, 47. Okay. 47. So over here, look at the demand. First you look at the demand schedule. You read it. Individual demand schedule. Just read it for the class a bit.
Individual demand schedule shows different quantities of demand for a commodity by a particular individual household at different prices of that commodity at a given moment.
What does that mean?
The definition.
What does that mean?
In individual demand schedules, that check the quantity, the price and the quantity of the product.
Okay. And this? You explain.
Quality,
Household demand. Quality.
Quality.
Simple तरीका देखो. Just look at the chart. Can you see the table? Yes. ठीक है. 30 rupees है अगर sugar का per kg. ठीक है. So what is the quantity of sugar demanded? 1. The more
Higher
added
the
came.
price, less the quantity.
Exactly.
If lower the price, they will buy more.
Quantity मतलब I'm talking in terms of the consumer. मैं production की बात नहीं कर रही थी. Are you getting it? Because we're talking in terms of the production. I was talking in terms of a consumer.
So,
ये अलग है. This is अलग. This is different. So I'm individual ना. So consumer क्या करता है? अब logic simple से सोचो. तुम consumer हो, ठीक है? आज अनियन के price 100 rupees kg हो गए. तुम अनियन के price अगर 100 rupees kg हो गए, ideally it is supposed to be 20 rupees kg. तो आप क्या करोगे? अपने घर के लिए 1 किलो खरीदोगे कि 5 किलो खरीदोगे? 1. Right? क्यों? क्योंकि the prices are increased. So prices leads to the relation. So is there a relationship between price and quantity? So when I say about the quantity, I don't mean in terms of production. I mean in terms of the consumption. Yeah? This is one thing which you need to remember. Now look at the second thing, market demand schedule. Now look at what I was talking now. When I just explained this individual demand schedule, now I'm talking about market demand schedule. This is the market. Okay, this is the difference. Can you read the market demand schedule for them?
market demand schedule shows the quantities of the given commodity which all individual households in the market could demand at different prices.
What does this mean?
This means like the whole market as a whole, like not one individual, like what market wants.
So market किस चीज पे vary करेगी? किस चीज पे depend करेगी? What are they saying?
On the other side, they all have different prices. Exactly.
मार्केट डिमांड शेड्यूल वैसे ही वेरी करेगा ना. अगर मार्केट भी है, लेट्स से तुम लोग इंडिविजुअल हो, तुम लोग ऐसा मार्केट है, तुम लोग यही वेट करोगे ना प्राइसेस रिड्यूस होंगे तो मैं खरीदूंगी. You may become then you may not be the direct consumer, but you would become the seller after that. You getting it? So that's how you have to understand the market demand schedule. Now look at this. Market demand schedule shows the quantities of a given quantity would demand at different prices. Do you agree with this? So suppose there are only 3 consumers. Let's say the 3 consumers. Which are the 3 consumers? A, B, and C. Whose individual demand schedules, market demand schedule has been constructed by adding these individual schedules in the example. मतलब, look at this table. Table 2.2 देखो. Price of sugar 30 rupees per kg. Demanded by consumer A, how much?
1 kg.
1 kg. Demanded by consumer B,
2
2. Which page number that beta are you seeing? 47. हाँ अभी देखो फर्स्ट प्राइस ऑफ शुगर कितना है टेबल पे 30 अभी 30 रुपीज हुआ था एक कंज्यूमर के कंज्यूमर ए ये हुई इसने कितना डिमांड किया अपनी फैमिली के लिए 1 केजी इसकी इसने कितना डिमांड किया 2 केजी he demanded 3 kg मुझे मार्केट डिमांड देखना है व्हाट विल आई डू add 1 2 3 you got it इंडिविजुअल डिमांड शेड्यूल के लिए इंडिविजुअल है मार्केट डिमांड शेड्यूल के लिए आई नीड टू सम इट अप इट्स as simple as that ये लॉजिक क्लियर हो now look at the second one same thing market demand 29 1 3 4 so what you have to understand over here is that as and when the prices reduce the demand no oh yes it may be more but it may vary also ideally it will be more what she
price
says
and quantity.
exactly so now you can just add see you have to add it you have to enlist your own understanding अपनी book में ही लिख लो when the price reduces see एक बार logic समझ में आ गया ना so eco becomes easy ये logical है सारा when price reduces demand nothing when price reduces then
The quantity, the content, demand for the quantity.
demand for the quantity better then demand for the quantity increases easy ठीक है ना यहाँ पर चलो अब ये चीज देख लो now coming back to just come to this first page अब इसमें क्या given है meaning of demand given है meaning of demand में what are the three keywords we saw in our what did we write from our slides desire
Desire, ability, willingness.
what is it desire capacity and willingness are you clear with that if you have to write this then effective desire सब कर लोगे ना now demand equals to desire plus
Ability plus willingness.
to
Buy.
spend
Okay,
spend willingness to spend clear easy okay now to sum it up तुम लोग कर ही लोगे quantity willingness price period of time this is what we keywords usually do now demand versus quality demanded demand क्या है what is demand
the need.
Demand, the need to
good willing and able to pay a given price this is what we had discussed and what is quantity
the amount of the product
We need
that
how
the
much
consumer
are
might
you
need.
needed?
quantity that quantity में how much is needed is correct that's a general term but economics में ये नहीं बोलते what do we say in economics quantity depends upon
for the
Price.
price.
quantity depends upon the price कि मैं उतना उसके लिए कितना पे कर सकता हूँ right so now you can see is quantity demanded बेटा please underline
Yes, sir.
okay quantity demanded is the amount people will buy at a particular price at a particular period of time ठीक है at the price of rupees 100 per hot dog consumers buy how many 2 hot dogs
Two hot dogs.
2 hot dogs per day if vendors decide to increase the price of 125 then how many consumers will buy per day so there is so technically
If the
price
is less,
increases then क्या होगा
Demand
The
for
demand
quantity
decreases.
decreases.
Now there are two definitions for demand.
hmm.
If you were to look,
just go with the keyword one
the first one,
keyword ठीक है so if demand increases sorry if price increases
the
then
demand is less, and if the price decreases, the demand is more.
so can you just write down if price इसके नीचे लिख दो your understanding if price increases का साइन होता है ना एरो वाला वो डाल दो if price increases then demand of the commodity decreases logic simple है ठीक है now you can see this Demand means, and what is the quantity demanded? A specific quantity of goods at a specific price. Now, there are two types of demand they're talking about, majorly. Joint and composites. What is joint demand?
Joint demand is when requirements are there to satisfy one.
Exactly. ये हमने फर्स्ट चैप्टर में किया था, we discussed about it कि कुछ ऐसी चीजें होती हैं जो, like for example, हम लोग ऑटोमोबाइल उसमें काम करते हैं. So if she doesn't make a steering, even though अलग से steering कर सकती है, if you are looking at the engine part, she's looking at some other gear part and all these things. आप लोग अलग अलग काम कर सकते हो, but आप उस चीज को सेल नहीं कर सकते तब तक जब तक आप दोनों मिल नहीं जाए. Altogether similar thing. ठीक है कि एक प्रिंटर के बिना क्या बनेगी? It's as simple as that. मैं प्रिंटर किसी को बेच भी दूँ और एक की प्रोडक्शन नहीं होगी तो तुम्हें लगता है प्रिंटर बिकेगा? So you have to have production together, right? So this is what a joint demand is. So joint demand, you can just underline. It exists when two or more goods are required together. So it is also known as a complementary demand. Clear? Now what is composite?
Composite demand is when also composite demand is when one item can make multiple items. Like one milk itself can make yogurt, cheese.
Makes sense. Yes. Leads to for one product. So that an increase in the demand for one product leads to a fall in supply of the other. Example, milk. Yeah, if more milk is used for manufacturing, there is less available for butter. मतलब क्या हुआ इसका?
Because you can make the butter out of milk. So why you just don't buy milk?
So don't you think there's a negative impact to it?
Yeah.
Composite demand.
One product gets less.
Exactly. अब अगर आज मैंने उसी milk को I've used it multiple times at home, let's say. I made it use dahi also. I made it use to make, as you said, that's different items, cheeses, any XYZ items. Then the normal milk is not left over.
Yeah.
So this is known as composite demand. कि तुम्हारी demand की वजह से, तुम्हारी production की वजह से मेरी supply कम. So you also have to understand the negative impact. Clear? Similarly, joint demand में भी ऐसा ही impact है कि आज एक वाला जैसे कहते हैं ना, इसने काम नहीं किया तो मैं भी कर दूँगी. It's like that joint demand. क्योंकि तुम उसने काम नहीं किया तो तुम भी कर देंगे क्योंकि तुम्हारा काम भी नहीं जाएगा. That's what a group work is all about. It has to be. So even if there is a positive impact to things, there's also a negative impact to it. It is attached. Okay, this is what you have to understand. Joint. What is direct demand? Directly demanded by the consumer for this own want. ठीक है, उससे मार्केट का कोई लेना देना नहीं. And derived demand. What is derived?
Derived is just like an example you gave for manufacturing a car. You need to make a car itself, you need multiple items. And to make a house, you need multiple items, just like bricks, cement, that's
तुमने तो जाके कंस्ट्रक्शन वाले को हायर किया, ठीक है? तुमने बोला ये मेरे पास लैंड है, मेरे को प्लॉट है, मुझे बिल्डिंग करनी है.
For that we need specific materials, so that's it, derived demand.
Exactly. तुमने एक को पैसे दिए, वो अपना देगा आगे पैसे. क्या सिंपल है? Any which way, still your thing is right. अपना पैसे देगा, अपना करेगा. So it's like a derived demand. Since ऐसी डिमांड मेरे पास आई है जिसके लिए मुझे और रिसोर्सेज चाहिए, so automatically. Clear? Easy. So this one is derived demand. So competitive demand.
when two items are in competition, just like here competition.
Yes.
Like which the consumers prefer, which one they want.
Yeah. Or you can talk about this Pepsi thumbs up.
Basically, there was a
People
competition
will
between
like-
5-star and Derivative.
Yeah, 5-star and derivative. It's a competitive demand. कि किसकी डिमांड, उसकी डिमांड बढ़ेगी तो दूसरे की रेटिंग्स हो जाएगी. It's automatic. यही चीज हुई थी जब ये thumbs up आ गई थी, Pepsi आ गई थी, Coke आ गया. तो पहले से thumbs up होती थी. अरे क्या होती थी? I don't know क्या भी बात. You were born with that thing. So you were tolerant. So campus, these are the things which used to come. So उससे automatically आपके demand और उसमें supply में ये तो देखा होगा तुमने अंबानी ने जब जियो ले आए थे, so which are the other telecom businesses जो shut हो गए थे, वोडाफोन गया, एयरटेल गया, क्योंकि उन्होंने फ्री ट्रांसफर दे दिए थे कि आप जियो में कन्वर्ट करो आपको फ्री इंटरनेट मिलेगा, तो रातों रात उन्होंने बिजनेस खत्म कर दिया था लोगों का, रातों रात people got literally on roads. Airtel never imagined. Yeah, Airtel used to charge so much. I mean, internet एक इंटरनेट के लिए वो कैसे भी ज़्यादा से कॉलेज, so एक इंटरनेट के ऐसे वो होता था कि यार
now the prices for recharges have gone up in China.
और पहले कैसे टेलीफोन बिल्स आते थे, टेलीफोन बिल्स used to be crazy, अब क्या है एक में रिचार्ज करना 400-500 रुपए का काम करना, that is the yearly recharge, you don't even realize there's a bill, there's no bill as such, that is something, things have changed. So then you got to know individual and market demand ना, individual demand schedule समझ में आ गया, market demand schedule निकालना है तो क्या करना है, you have to
add.
sum it up, yes, add. Okay, now look at the demand curve. This is the same thing which we were talking about over here. Who is reading? Who is reading? Demand.
Demand schedule.
Demand curve.
The graphic representation of demand schedule is known as demand curve. The curve which shows the relation between the price of a commodity and the amount that the commodity that the consumer wishes to purchase is called demand.
Underline this. This is very, very important. Relation between the price of a commodity and the amount of that commodity the consumer wishes to purchase is called demand curve. Two types of individual demand curve and market demand curve. Okay? And then you go to this price will be an independent variable and is taken on y-axis, and the quantity demanded will be dependent variable which is there. Which is x-axis and which is y-axis? Y-axis is this. Now you explain. Look at this. Figure 2.1 के नीचे same चीज़ है. I will do the same now. Yes. Yes. Read it to the class.
Quantity demanded is measured along x-axis and price of sugar along the y-axis. By plotting 1 kg of commodity at price ₹30, we get a point P. Likewise,
So x-axis में क्या है?
Quantity,
Quantity demanded of sugar. Y-axis में क्या है?
price.
Write it please. Write it over there. They don't write it and say people. Right, yeah.
Likewise, by plotting 2 kgs at price of ₹20.28, 3 kgs at price ₹28, 4 kgs at price ₹27, and 5 kgs at price ₹26. We obtain point B, C, D, and E respectively. By joining these various points, we get an individual demand curve, DD. Thus, the demand curve is a graphic representation of various quantities of commodity, sugar in our example, which will be demanded by the consumer at various prices.
So, how would you explain? जब tell me how would you explain before I say it? Tell me quantity कितना quantity demand है first वाले में?
First one is 1 kg.
1 kg. So price is 30. 2 kgs?
29.
What is this? What are they saying?
They say that when
Increase and increases your demand. Decrease in price of the
increase in price,
Same
demand is decreased.
So increase in price, demand,
is less.
quantity of demand is less. Decrease in price,
The
quantity of demand is
High.
easy, simple. Please write it down and understanding over there in front of the graph. Yeah, but you just jot down it over here in short. This graph के बाद. Then I'll tell you to make a graph. ये इंडिविजुअल डिमांड कर्व है, ठीक है? कंज्यूमर ए का कर रहे हैं, इसको मार्केट डिमांड कर्व मत कहना. अब तुम्हें क्या करना है? What is your job is you make a demand curve in your notebook for consumer B. Consumer A क्या नहीं बनाना है? Consumer ये अभी हम consumer A कर रहे थे ना? Now you have to do it for consumer B. make a demand. नहीं समझा?
That is, अभी हम क्या कर रहे थे? Prices of sugar and demand कर रहे थे ना?
We have to
Consumer
make
एक
this
है
demand.
No बच्चा. This see, this demand curve is there. Look here. Look here, this demand curve is there.
उसको A.
This is for consumer A, na?
Yeah.
So you have to make it for consumer B.
The 20.
Yes, and this is consumer B. This is not, this is consumer A now. That's why we wrote it like this. Got it? Right. Even though consumer B का 2 से start है, but हमें numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 ही जाएंगे. Numbers से ही गड़बड़ होएंगे. ठीक है? Curve आपका change हो जाएगा. You take your 5 minutes. After that, we'll break. Take your break. So 5 minutes later. Is it not 6:15 break? That's not. We'll make it when the bell rings. Then we take. Whatever you decide. Okay.
Then 10 minutes later, I will give break.
नाम है कहीं बोलेंगे या फिर दिल्ली का
कोई कार्ड